Welcome back to the White Pew podcast. I'm ZM and it is Sunday, 12th of October 2025. If you know anything about the White Pew's villain origin story, that date will ring alarm bells because it is the White Pew's 10th birthday. That is right, 1-0, 10 years, a whole decade. Whoa, 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 air horns. I'm going to insert sound effects on this track from somewhere. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, it is our 10th birthday. And that's lovely. Well, I love a round number. A whole decade. That's a third of our lives. Can you believe it? I actually can believe it. But it makes sense. You know what I mean? But rather than a normal text review essay episode, we're going to give you a little recording from a talk we did a couple of weeks ago at the Festival of Encounters, hosted by Van Gogh House at San Mei Gallery, which is a gallery 10 minutes down the road from Van Gogh House. It is me interviewing Gabrielle about our book, Poor Artists, that came out last year. It is out now in paperback, and also ebook and audiobook if that is your format of preference. But just to say, if you haven't read the book and you don't want spoilers, then maybe pause this episode, put a pin in it, come back to it once you've read it, because we don't do like spoilers, but we do discuss some of the chapters towards the end half of the book, and maybe you don't want to know what happens. You don't want to know where it's going. You just want to be surprised. Meow, meow, meow. That's fine. That's your prerogative. So yeah, pin if you don't want spoilers, but listen on if you want to hear our chat. Thank you. And thank you for sticking with us for the past 10 years. Maybe you've not been listening from the beginning. Maybe it's only 7 years. I don't know. But it feels like a real privilege to be able to do this job that we love so much. And it's just, I feel quite emotional and strange because 10 years is such a long time. I've not done anything for 10 years. But yeah, writing, that's lovely, isn't it? Okay, bye before I cry. See you later. Here's the talk.
I'm sure you probably all know who the White Pew is, but I'm going to give a little introduction anyway, in case you have no idea where you are. So the White Pew is the collaborative identity of UK-based critics Gabrielle de la Puente and Zarina Mohammed. They have been turning heads since 2015 when the pair began publishing provocative art reviews and essays online from their art school studios and have earned themselves an international cult following due to their innovative writing style, their honesty and irreverence, and their willingness to challenge the pale, male, stale art establishment. Poor Artist is their first book, which they're also going to be talking about today. We do have copies of that book available if anyone wants to buy them, and you can get them signed afterwards. The talk is going to be about 40 minutes long with 20 minutes for Q&A. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy it, and thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's so busy. Thank you for coming. You could have done anything today.
No, it's a Sunday.
Take it away.
Okay, so we've got a slightly different format. I'm in charge. I'm interviewing Gabrielle. Because maybe this is the beauty of working in a collaboration, right? We're a self-sustaining ecosystem, a terrarium, but also I hate answering questions. I get dead nervous, and I know all the best questions to ask. No offence to everyone that's ever interviewed us, but yeah. So, for this talk, I will not be Zarina Mohammed. I'm going to be a generic interviewer. You can think of me as like Jeremy Paxman, Davina McCall, whoever you want, Graham Norton, I'm whoever, but I'm not myself. So if we all just suspend our disbelief. And then also, please be on your best paying attention behaviour, because we have some prizes for the 4 best questions at the end.
We've got a special riser printed Poor Artist bingo. from the Liverpool event earlier this year, and they have just been on the shelf in my bedroom. I need to get raised, but there's 4 of them, so the 4 best questions can get one for free.
Yes. And then we do have some... This is like housekeeping. Okay, right. Make sure your phones are switched off. But I'm going to make some assumptions that we're about a year in. I'm going to hope that you've all read the book, or if you've not read the book, that you're happy to have spoilers.
No!
Is that... You're not happy?
I'm not happy with that.
Is anyone super unhappy if we do spoilers?
Who's read the book?
Does anyone object?
That's quite a lot.
Okay, we can keep it...
Vague. I don't know. Some people really don't care about spoilers. You don't care about spoilers. We've spoken about this before. And I was like, you're a psycho.
Okay,
go on,
straight into them. Okay, what an honour to be with you here today, Gabrielle.
Thanks.
Okay, I've got a quick fire round first, which I've not actually sent you ahead of time, have I? No. Okay, who is your favourite character in the book?
Mo. He's my boyfriend.
Which character was your favourite to write?
Gustave Courbet.
What is your favourite chapter overall?
The Jupiter residency. Yeah.
Which chapter is the most important?
Uncertainty, which is the big art fair confrontation.
Which chapter could most likely have been cut out by a snip-happy editor?
The art hospital.
Is there a chapter that got cut that you regret cutting, yes or no?
Do you know what? I was looking at this isn't a quick fire answer, but I was looking at our original chapter list, which we'd scrawled and stuck on the wall when we went to Ireland to do a residency, and I was like, what the fuck was the Etsy ghost?
I imagine your collaborator actually really regrets not putting that in.
Yeah.
If she was here.
I think she would. And it was coming back to me and I was like, oh wait, just the title alone makes you want to do that. The same way the white pube makes you want to be a critic for 10 years. The Etsy ghost. It's like the Etsy witches that put a curse on Charlie Kirk the other day. Anyway, carry on.
Which chapter do you think is the general public's favourite?
I think a lot of people talk about... I can't even remember what it's called. The one towards the beginning about all-nighters.
Oh,
what's that called?
Frogging. No, not frogging.
No, anyway. The one early on about just loving art so much that you stay up all night, and then the art attack guy starts talking to her off the telly.
Wendy.
I feel like people get really happy when they talk about that, which feels it's doing something. Yeah.
Okay. Shoot, shag, marry, Mo, Valentine, Sheila.
Well, Sheila's me nan, so I'd marry me nan. I would shag Mo. I would shoot Valentine. Really? Yeah.
Rough. Shoot, shag, marry, Royal Tunbridge Wells, Abraham Maslow, the Art King.
Shoot the Art King. Marry oh god, no. I don't like this round. Shag Royal Tunbridge Wells.
Why is there no smoking hot sex scene between Quest and Mo?
Because I wouldn't let you do it.
I'm Jeremy Paxman.
Oh man, first it was the Etsy ghost. No, we had we had the same vision for the book, and then when we sat down to write it, Zarina's version was like smut, YA.
And then they kiss.
At the end of every chapter, which to be fair was sort of in keeping, because the first entire draft of the book was actually called Art Dates. Me and Zarina Zarina's this girl that I know. Me and Zarina would get followers off the internet and we'd be like, who are these people? And then eventually put a call out on Instagram to say if you want to go on an art date, here's our email address, let's go to a gallery. And then like we did that loads for years, and we made loads of like incredible friends off the back of it, and weirdly felt like we had networked by accident. Like we didn't mean to like network, but this idea came back around, that experience of like going somewhere and talking about cultural things and like connecting over culture was like actually very special to us, and maybe we should write a book about it, and maybe we should interview people, and maybe all those conversations could be like dialogue, and all the people could become characters. And we proposed that we would write a book to Penguin called Art Dates, and they were like, yep, cool. And then we wrote it, and it was like so unromantic, like so depressing. And then it got a bit violent, and we were like, we need to change the title. But it's why, like, if you go through the chapter list, a lot of the chapter titles still allude to like someone going on a date. We were like, we'll keep it in there because it's funny, but yeah.
No sex.
No sex. No
PG.
sex. No sex because like also I do think that like when you write a book, you don't need to say the Quest woke up and she brushed her teeth and she had breakfast and then she went about today and then she brushed her teeth and she went back to bed. Like that's just assumed. You the reader can fill in the blanks. Mo and Quest were teenagers. They were shagging. We don't need to say they were shagging. They were sixth formers.
Yeah. Would you rather be invisible like Quest in the No Show, or miniature borrower-sized living under the floorboards like Quest in Frogging?
I think if I was really, really little, so little that I fell down the floorboards, I would have a panic attack. I think it would be vile. I think I already feel like I'm too small, and I wish I was like a 6 foot. My boyfriend's 6'8". I wish I was 6'8".
I was going to say, this is psychologically
all
interesting.
The time. And I think he does too. No, I'd love to be invisible. I'd love to sneak into places and not have to pay and pull people's pants down. And
it's kind of like a critic's dream, right? A critic's fantasy, being invisible to like snoop on all the things.
Yeah, I mean, like, more seriously, sometimes being so visible that when we walk in places, people are like, the white pube here. Like, it's nice, but you start to feel like, oh, fuck, like, you have to, like, I don't know, they're gonna see me be a critic. I don't know, I don't always like it. I think there have been points in our, like, 10-year history when we've had a lot of hate and a lot of scary men coming in our business, and, like, yeah, there were points where I just wished we could like exist in public spaces without that potential of like someone being like, I know who you are and I know everything about you and I've got this incredibly well-formed judgment about your entire politics, and you're like, I don't know anything about you, so it's not fair. And I hated that. Yeah. I'd be invisible.
Okay. Thank you for the quick fire round. Mr. Lapuente, you are an art critic who is more often likely to be found writing steaming hot critical takedowns of other people's works of art. What was it like making something for once?
Well, no one's even written a steaming hot takedown of poor artists.
People have tried.
There's like one bad review, which is crazy. I don't understand it. We've pissed so many people off. Like, even if they enjoyed the book, would they not have just wrote a bad review for fun? Anyway, my real answer is that I didn't mind. I don't think I felt that scared because, like, we went to art school and we made things for years and we were, like, always being told, like, about the value or the success or, like, the precision of what it is we'd made and, like, being made to think about that. And when we left art school and we started to write criticism, it was just, like, another thing we made. Like, I used to make paintings and now I make writings. And also, like, our followers for years have told us whether things are good or bad or not. So it's fine. It's also never that deep. Ever. just, like, if anyone's read today's White Pube text by any chance, like, it's just not that deep. I think it's fine. So the book is, like, again, I don't know. It's nice that there are so many good reviews of it, because I'm glad that, like, people have gotten the weird vision that we were, like, trying to make everyone, like come into our hallucination. And people, like, were quite excited to do that. But yeah, I didn't get that scared. I think Serena did. I think that's why she's asking me. Which is understandable, because whenever you make something and you put it anywhere, there's, like, a moment of vulnerability. But I think generally, like, people's self-esteem is, like, too tied into the thing that they do or make. And, like, the best way to go about things is to, like, divorce them. Like, have a bit there just so that you're not a robot, but I don't know. It's you know, like, like, yeah, I won't start comparing art to food again. I feel like I do that every time I do a talk.
No, but it's like there's a process of disavowal, right? Where you throw the thing away from yourself and you've got to separate it from your body. Yeah. And if you were writing a review of Poor Artists, you said that no one's done the steaming hot critical takedown. If you were doing it yourself...
Pause there, sir.
Okay.
Art review tried.
They did. They put their best foot forward, I hear.
But it was sort of like, it ended up being quite nice, because their steaming hot takedown was like, this is like Jacqueline Wilson for art students. And I was like, thanks. That is the height of praise.
But if you were writing your own review,
yeah,
and you had to tear it apart, what criticisms would you make of the book?
I wish it was longer. I wish it was a bit longer. Like, I think, like, 2 chapters. I don't think it needed to be too. I don't think we needed to, like, flog a dead horse. But I think
more side quests.
Either more side quests, because, like, there's a whole section where quest is getting to a point, and then she gets to this point, and then we decided to, like, switch the book and have 2 other characters, like, it speak from their point of view, partly because we wanted to leave quest to mull, but also because we wanted to start introducing other people into Quest's life, when actually, like, she'd been so isolated for so long that she, like, forgot what it was like to talk to another human being. And then we would return and finish the story. I think then we ended it too fast. And we kind of wrapped it. We were like dead excited to tie a bow on it or something, because we were exhausted.
I wasn't exhausted. I'm Laura Koonsberg.
But no, I would do that. And also, I think we really got it into our heads that, like, Penguin wanted 80,000 words. So, like, we actually had a book that was 120,000. And then in the last week, I was like, Serena, I'll be back in 48 hours. And I cut it to shit. And I was like, hey, we're ready, Penguin. Here you go. And I don't actually think anything in that edit needed to be in it. What even was it? I don't know. But if we'd have had more time, maybe we would have filled in a bit more, put a bit more cement in it or something. But the book was, like, 6 months overdue because of my health, and yeah, that's my criticisms. But I kind of like how pithy it is for the most part, so I don't want to go too long.
Yeah, but right, word on the grapevine is that you and your collaborator read a book. Just bear with the format. Read a book called Into the Woods by John York, which is loosely about narrative theory, like the mechanics that make a story kind of feel satisfying, or like make it operate and function. We come to expect stories in a certain format. It gives you the kind of basic layout of that format. I think the first 2 acts were quite long. The third act was quite long. Act 4 and 5 were quite short. Just rebalancing that. That's a really sharp criticism. You're a very good critic. Thanks. A question from @ArtTheories on Instagram. Would you consider doing a spin-off sequel?
Just all the sex scenes.
Is your collaborator interested in that?
To be honest, it's like something that we would tell ourselves when we were writing and making those edits, like, oh, maybe we'll revisit this one day and we'll put all those, like, we were calling them side quests into like a smaller publication or something. It's hard because I feel like I've said everything I ever want to say in that one book, and I've not had a new thought since. It's been like 2 years and I'm still empty. I can't. It's like, yeah, like the 2p machine is dead. All the toys have fallen off it. What? Silence.
If
I don't
your
know.
collaborator were here, I suspect she'd say that's not true.
I just think that when I write, like I need to live to be able to write. And it's not been enough time to do any living. My life personally is very one note. I'm generally not well, and I'm in the same house, and nothing changes, and it's like starting to shift a little bit and like loosen up this year because of like the doctors are like finally getting to grips with what long COVID is 5 years later. So like things are now starting to change. So then I think after that, come back and I'll tell you if I've got any new words. But I don't know. There are things I want to do, but like after that, yeah, that'll all go into writing, because everything will always go into writing because I'm a writer. But not yet. No.
Okay. Changing the segment. This book is full of weird magic. There are castles in French wormholes that appear out of nowhere. There's transformation, shrinkage, invisibility. There are monsters, zombies, mountains of sentient art materials, talking babies, Cilla Black, ghosts of French revolutionaries. I think you've answered this question before, but for the function of magic in this book, what purpose does that serve within the narrative?
So I was in the pub last week. I do leave the house sometimes. I went to the pub because Dead Ink Books, independent publishing company in Liverpool, have just released an anthology called Writing the Magic. And basically the editor goes to like different fantasy authors and asks like, what does fantasy mean to you? How do you go about writing it? And anyway, 2 of those writers were down, and I ended up in the pub with Alex Phoebe, who wrote Mordew. If anyone's read Mordew, it's fucking incredible. Me and Zarina love it. And he was basically saying to me, like for him, he's a fantasy writer. He writes these how would you even describe Mordew? I don't even know.
I'm Jonathan Ross. I haven't read it.
Okay. Mordew is like a story about a young boy who grows up in a town where the mud is alive, and like body parts come up out of it, and like all this, and you're like, oh, and then it goes from there. It's great. But anyway, Alex Phoebe was saying to me, like, he is a fantasy writer. That's where he gets like put in Waterstones, but like he doesn't really feel like fantasy exists because like everything is fantasy, because nothing is real. And the way he was like justifying that was to say that we all accept that certain things are real because we've all got like our idea of reality is sort of like made by consensus or something. We've all decided that gravity exists and that pillar is holding the ceiling up and whatever, and chairs exist and so forth. But he was like, why? Like, why have we, how and why have we gotten to that point? And if we've gotten to that point, can we not get to other points? Like, I'm explaining this badly. He made me feel like I was on the moon. But to apply that politically, to feel like, oh, actually nothing is fixed in place. Everything is always malleable, and you can poke at it and you can stretch it and you can change it. Just felt like it made so much sense. So like actually the function of magic in poor artists was also just like the function of art in any gallery space, or like a performance in a theatre, whatever it is, like to not just accept that reality has to stay the way it is, because actually reality doesn't feel great. And the reality that we've accepted is also comes with like this horrible governance by evil rich people who make us all feel shit. So like, why would we just carry on going about our lives and accept that? I was like, I should only read fantasy. when he was speaking to me, I was like, oh my god. I've never thought about it that way, especially because like fantasy gets such a hard ride. Like people think it's so cringe, or it's like a low art.
But that's interesting, considering the potential it has to like make reality a kind of plastic. Like it's interesting that it could be a really dangerous, uncontrollable genre that threatens something in the status quo.
But I feel like those types of art making get put down on purpose, not to be like a mad conspiracy person.
No, but Mo says this in Uncertainty.
Mo does say this in Uncertainty. Yeah, like we, let's not fund that type of art, because if too many people are reading Mordew, then we're going to have, a really difficult time as a government. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a revolution in the book. Oh, it's so good.
Wow. This is a good segue into the next. I've got an eye on the time. I'm going to segue into the next segment. So that was a really short segment. But, okay, anarchism. There's a theme tune. What research did you and your collaborator do into anarchism to put together the book's political backbone?
We watched YouTube documentaries, because if you're going to watch anarchist documentaries, we're better. But mostly, honestly, I just spent a lot of time speaking to my best mate in Liverpool, Priya Sharma, who, like, years and years ago, we were in a WhatsApp group chat. It must have been like 2020 or beginning of 2021. Whenever Biden got in, and I remember like the group chat being like, oh, thank God Biden got in, thank God. And everyone was like, woo. And Priya was the only one who was like, why are you all celebrating? Like, it's not good that any of these people got in. And I was like, oh my God. And it was just silent in the group chat. And I thought about it for ages. I was like, what? Yeah, I feel so embarrassed. But it was like a good type of shame. Shame's important sometimes. And yeah, I just thought about that for a while. And then she was doing these like activations in Liverpool at the time. We used to go for food and we would speak for like 7 hours. You know, when you go for a meal with someone and you speak for 7 hours and you just like right all the world's wrongs, and all the tables around you change, and like there's been like 5 different meals either side of you, and you're just sat there like ordering mango lassies. She just taught me so much about like what equality and what maximum freedom could look like if it came with maximum equality and respect. And this was like just before I got sick. So then when I got sick, I feel like everything that she'd been like trying to open my eyes to came true. Because I lost so much freedom, and then I realized like I'm not being treated with respect by the places that I thought would do that. And I found like the most care and the most support and the most future in speaking to other sick people and like making these communities. And then Priya would drop vats of food off for me, and I was like that's what it is, that's what this means to like look after each other. And anyway, it meant that by the time we came to write the book and we were like writing about the problems with art and then getting to like ahead with it and thinking like between the two of us, Yeah, but even if we write a book where we say, like, it's all shit, we should all rip it up and start again, like, it's not going to work. Like, our one book's not going to work. And we were interviewing other people, and there's a line in the book about, like, what if the thing that changed the whole world would be an artwork? Like, what if you were to make something so, like, attractive, but so, like, secretly revolutionary that you kind of coated it in silver or whatever was, like, trendy at the time, and then the art world would like accumulate it, because that's what they do, they accumulate, and then what if, like, once it got into the art world system, like, it exploded and you, like, you know, Trojan horsed it into them. And we were thinking about that all the time. We were like, I was like, I don't think the book is it. I love that White Cube sell the book, for example, so I think maybe it is it. But that's just because whoever the bookseller there is, like, cool as fuck. But yeah, like, we were talking about that, and then it all just was, like, getting bigger and bigger, and I felt like, yeah, anarchism was the only answer towards like, feeling less bad when you're alive, and that would mean a smaller life where you just, like, care for the people in your immediate circle. Because, like, the conversation me and Priya have been having, like, in the past few weeks is about an anarcho-nihilism, like, which is a strand of anarchism that sort of feels like we're done for. Like, we can all sit here and we can have these, like, nice little chats on a Sunday afternoon in a gallery, but, like, nothing's actually going to change. Like, the governments aren't going to fall. Like, the thing you and me want isn't going to happen. The art world's not going to ever be the shape that we want it to be, because these things have been built in such a way that it's, like, cursed forever and it's, like, poisoned forever. Like, the reason, like, the politicians and MPs exist is because of, like, closure of land and these people wanting to protect their own property, and it's all fucked. And it's, like, fucked in, like, a thorough way where it's, like, cursed from the roots. So, like, why would we bother? And again, there's, like, even in anarcho-nihilism, there's, like, an idea of hope that, yeah, just, like, crunch it down and attend to your immediate surroundings, make sure the people you know have got their basic needs met, and then just, like, love each other. And it's so emotional, and I really feel that now. I feel like I don't know if it's Joy James. Is it Joy James who was like, you know, we like fight back because we think we can win resistance. I feel like I'm at this, like, I'm like really hitting a wall with it, even with anarchism, because I just think, like, I don't have faith. Yeah, and it's like this. It comes down to even, like, when we released the book, we were like, in a material way, we were like, once we release a book, we're gonna earn enough to get, like, a deposit for a house, and, like, and then we can delete Patreon, and we won't have to, like, beg people for money like losers. But none of these things happen. I'll just stay in the house.
Right. Okay, I can't answer this. If your collaborator was here, I'm actually Alex from Call Her Daddy, but so I wouldn't know this. But the other week, your collaborator was watching a video on YouTube where David Graeber's talking to Charlie Rose, and he describes himself as an anthropologist and an anarchist. And Charlie Rose gets him to define it, right? And he's like, okay, well, an anarchist... He has this really interesting explanation for it. He goes, an anarchist would... say there's someone over there, they're a village, they need to have a well dug. Instead of going to petition the government, say, please, can the government build the road? An anarchist would just get a shovel and dig the well.
Yeah.
And... I don't know, that's just been playing on my mind, your collaborator's mind, a lot. For like the past week or so since you watched that, because I think, you know, when you think about things like why Palestine action, I've said it now, like, fuck, I'm gonna get fucking arrested, but, like,
don't tell anyone,
like, why things like that, those methods of direct action are so abhorrent to the government is because it's someone doing that, right? They're digging the well, they're doing the thing that is going to get directly in the way of the government trying to ship arms to Israel or something like that. That's why it's, oh fuck, no one tell anyone I've said this. They're gonna but that's why, right? Like, I think, and I don't know if that's necessarily like a counter to nihilism, but I can't stop thinking about it. Your collaborator can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like there's an anarchist text called "Blessed by the Flame," "Blessed is the Flame," "Blessed is the Flame," by an anonymous writer who describes describes us all as being like domesticated, and as like subscribing to legalism. Like we're so in it. We don't even realize like how deep in it we are. And like maybe that goes back to the question of like why write magically, because like that made me want to go past it or beyond it, or like hold us and everything we do and everything we've subscribed to at like arm's length, so I could see it for what it is. But by writing it, I've like ruined life for myself because now I don't trust anyone. No, I just yeah, it's not a bad thing.
But on illegal, okay, right. What chapter is this from? Beep, 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 beep. New segment. What chapter is this bit from? Adults look at artists and think, you do that thing we all did when we were kids, the scribbling and drawing and finger painting. I wish I could have kept doing that too, but because they didn't, they infantilize it.
Is it Wendy?
No.
Wait, uncertainty? Just tell me.
Frogging.
Do you know, like last year I read this book like 5 times.
I know, yeah.
And I needed a break.
But frogging is an example of illegalist action, for those of you that don't know.
Frogging is when you like secretly live in someone else's house.
And illegalism is based on the idea that since capitalists steal from people, you, me, us, it would be legitimate to steal back from the capitalists. So it's things like theft, burglary, like when you rob Tesco, counterfeiting, squatting, arson, like squatting like frogging, but also, arson. All of it comes under the umbrella of propaganda by the deed, individual acts to transgress the law and demonstrate that the law is a form of arbitrary and like abusive power. Do you think it is important for Quest to flip, to go dark, to not be a law-abiding artist citizen?
Yeah, because like I think that's the other thing of fantasy, isn't it? And just like writing in general, like you can write the person you want to be. I think a lot about like what I could do physically, and then think, oh my god, but if I ended up in jail, how much more sicker would I be? I can't even like stand up for 10 minutes. I think us writing Quest as a lawbreaker was great. It makes me like makes me think of me and Priya again have been chatting about Christos Sakalos, one of the guys that got convicted in the mid-2000s in Greece for bombing luxury car dealerships and banks, and as a part of like a anarchist group. No one ever died. It's fine. And then like I read things like that and I think Quest should have blown something up. And like we had visions like that. There was murders and things. Don't know how and why we pulled it back, but we went with something else instead. If you've read the book, something a bit more physical. But yeah, I think it's important. I think it should have to be, because I'm very well behaved.
Hold that thought. But is it possible for a hero to transgress the moral boundaries of our world, or like the world we live in, the social contract that we all subscribe to, and still remain a hero, or does she become an anti-hero?
Well, my English literature GCS A-level teacher, when we left school, gave us all like a rubber duck, everyone in the class, and like it was those like rubber ducks that were fashionable at the time that were like different characters, And she gave everyone like a nice little one. And then she gave me the devil one. And I was like, Miss Speed, why have you given me this? And she was like, just read the note. And then I went home and I was like, oh. And it said, good luck with university, Gabrielle. Don't forget, the devil is always more interesting. And I was like, oh my God. And the next time I saw her, she went to me, you're a little bit evil, aren't you? I was like, what? But she was so right. I'm an evil critic. I'm so evil. Because I enjoy it. Like, I don't know what your question was. Anti-hero.
Can you blow things up and still be a hero?
So yeah, at the time I just read shitloads like Paradise Lost and like, I don't know, I was like, Miss Speed was right. I want to read about good people. I want to read about like people you think, ooh. Because it feels like when your mate like does something you're like, you shouldn't have done that. And you get like a bit excited. That feeling all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think Quest is the hero of Poor Artists? Who do you think the hero is?
I don't think we needed one. Like in narrative terms, like a hero is like this person who at the start of the story like is missing something and they really want something. So at the beginning of the book, Quest really wants to be an artist. Like she's like, I want to be like capital A artist. And then over the course of the story, different things will happen in that hero's life that like put that want further and further away until they get like a piece of information or like a confrontation or something weird will happen with like another character that shows them that actually they need something. It's not that they want something, they need something, and actually like the need might be more important than the want. So I think in that sense, Quest fits it because like she really wants to be an artist, like a professional one. But actually what she just needs is to make art. And that's two very different things. And she has to let go of the want to see that. But like the reason I say I don't think we need one is because like we were writing a non-fiction book. The way that we got this book deal with Penguin was to put it through the non-fiction avenue, which essentially means like we'll write 3 chapters, we'll give them to you and we'll put it in a book proposal and we'll tell you what is going to happen in the rest of the story, and then you're going to give us some money and a book advance to go away and write the rest of the book. When people write fiction books, they write the whole fucking thing and then they sell the whole thing to publishers, and like we financially just couldn't do the second one. That's why like so many writers are like middle class, because they can afford to do it, or like they aren't middle class and they like scrape after like work and force themselves to stay up late and just burn out trying to get shit done. But it meant that we had a non-fiction editor on the book. We didn't have someone who was going to tell us like about heroes and anti-heroes. She was just like trying to make sure it made sense.
Checking.
She was fact-checking the book. Which made a lot of sense. And I'm glad we had Josephine Greywood. She was amazing. I want to be her as a pet. I just want to be her. But yeah, like even in the initial meeting with Penguin, when we described the art dates thing to them, it was more about pitching them an idea of like, here's a vehicle that we can like adopt to share interesting conversations with about art. It wasn't like we want to tell an amazing story. So it's often when we would have like issues with drafts throughout the writing process, she would say to us like, it's because you're trying to write a story all of a sudden, like go back to the original idea. And every time she said that, I was like, oh yeah, get a grip, come on. We've been critics for 10 years. We haven't been to like uni to do a creative writing MA. We don't have a clue. We read one book about how to write stories and we were like, we found the answers.
On brand, it tracks, right? Like,
we literally Googled it.
But okay, right. I'm aware of time, so very quickly, last question. I've missed all the best ones as well. I've been bad at my job, sorry. My last question is, do you think, yes, no, as well, quick fire. Do you think Poor Artist has a happy ending?
Yes. No. No. It's no. Take it back.
Okay, but okay, last minute. This is the actual last question. Do you think this book takes art seriously? Yes, no.
Yeah, I think it really does actually. Yeah. So fucking that man can shut the fuck up, can't you? When I was in uni, we basically submitted the same thing. We were like, we've made a website, and then Zarina's got marked and she got a first, and then the tutor who marked it was off sick, so someone else marked mine and gave me a 2-1.
The same thing. We handed in the same thing.
And in the explanation, he wrote on mine, something, you doubt the value and purpose of art. And I was like, yes.
Obviously. You've not been paying attention.
I can't even remember his name.
I know his name, but I won't say it.
This
is
a
being
dog.
recorded. But, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm still James O'Brien, but we will take questions. We will take questions now.
White Cube. Cube.